Can be everything I am. I know. Friends, let's sing that song. We are winding up. Search me through and through, and my heart becomes a home for you, Lord. Search me through and through, and my heart becomes a home for you, a home for you, Lord. A home for you, Lord. Let everything I do open up the door for you to come through. My heart will be a place where you wanna become a man. My heart, your, just as alone. Can it be everything I am? I know. Friends, let's sing that song. We are winding up. Search me through and through, and my heart becomes a home for you, Lord. Everything I do, open up the door for you to come through. My heart will be a place where you want to be. Come on, come on. Lord, praise and sing us as a declaration. Everything I am, I know. Search me through and through, my heart becomes a home for you, a home for consume everything we are. The Lord will give you everything that we are wholeheartedly. Lord, we desire to give you everything wholeheartedly. All we are, we give you praise. Have your way, Lord. Take your place this morning, all our lives, all our all our desires. Take charge, even our training. Take charge, Lord. We give it to you. Make it a home. Make it a home, Lord. Asifiwe, make that a home. The children, your home. Lord, the parents, your home. Our friends, our neighbors, your home. Our dwelling. Lord, shall we have no stress. Lord, shall we have no anxiety, because you have made our hearts your dwelling place. We give you praise. We give you thanks. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Douglas, however, the man with very interesting hair, you will notice. Yes, Douglas is from MindLyfe. And Douglas is not alone, he's with Dr. Henry, together with a number of people that are helping with details to do with mental health. Something we have realized that is such a place that we don't want to despise, so we want to attend to it. Even yesterday, I think as they spoke on discipline and the children, and they're mentioning some signs of children, I thought that there actually is part of what mental health is going to be addressing. You'll find some children down and a bit all the time alone, quiet, and you don't know where the issue is. It might be a mental illness and it's somewhere underlying. And I know that Douglas here has had lots of experiences in that area. I know that they shared with us, and they're mentioning that some of these challenges might be home and the children are not speaking. But also are glad of the life groups. Thank you so much. Those are also helping, bring to light a number of things that the children are hiding down below. But also realize, as guided again by MindLyfe, that there might be things that are even just beyond all of us here combined. And I know that as they do their sessions, you're going to be realizing and start our day. Most welcome, Douglas.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here to be with each one of you. I would like to first request each one of you to stand up and hug 2 neighbors. At least minimum 2 neighbors away from you. Yeah, minimum 2 neighbors. can hug you. Okay. What do you think? I will have his hair. So, I love what you've done. Like, I love the freedom and the openness. And I will share when I had to instruct each one of you to do that. My name is, let's start, what do you think I do? I listen to the options. And I need you to be free with me. I'm a very free person. What do you think I do?
Talk to people about mental health.
I talk about from the mental health thing. Yeah? Yes, sir.
I was going to say deal with mental health patients.
Mental health patients, wait, Ivan.
Like a rapper.
Yes, sir.
What's a rapper?
I'm a presenter. Yeah. Rapper presenter, yes, sir. A life coach? Awesome. Yes?
Photographer.
I do what?
Photographer, yeah.
Photographer and videographer. Awesome. Yes, sir. Musician. Something wrong. Yes, sir. Comedian.
Raising the bar very high.
Yes, madam.
IT specialist.
Baby, you are sniper, I can see tired.
Okay, that's awesome. I appreciate each one what you've said about
IT
this
specialist.
But professionally, I'm a structure engineer. I did civil engineering at the university. I'm a practice structure engineer. I'm an assistant structure engineer, I practice. But also, I love life and I love impact lives. This is why in 2017, I turned an opportunity to go to Tata, India, and an opportunity, and I was like, let me remain here to change our lives and change the lives of Africans. This is what brings me to do what I do. And I've been doing works with the young people since 2016. I was a president. ISIC, it's a global organization. It's over in 130 plus countries. In Uganda, it mainly engages with university students. As Mr. Nsubuga is the veteran of ISIC in Uganda University. So we were through that experience whereby students from all over the world get to come on projects that are running the country. You handle that and then make sure the team and the members of the different universities that you're in, you get them to go work on different projects out there to grow themselves, to impact themselves, to change lives. So this is my experience that got me to get to where we are right now. So after my presidency in 2015-2016, I intended to start the journey of Africa. And I was looking at changing the mindsets of young people because of the experience I had. These people are not better than us. How do I change the people here? How do I change myself to remain here and change the lives of young people? And that's how my journey started. In 2017, they called me up to go to Tata because with the program, when you're done, there's so many opportunities to go work out and all that. But I turned that down, and actually, the person introduced me to ASIC, they also returned me to the country because when he was in Malaysia, some student told him, why are you here? You pay taxes to help people back in your countries. He has never thought of going back home. He's also now actually working with him. MindLyfe is called the Chief Mandan, some type of meeting. Those are different experiences. His mental health problem from that to coming back here is not able to fit into the communities. Got him to be like very media and also impact our people. But leaving that aside, today we have to talk about MindLyfe. What is MindLyfe? I'm not going to present, but the media show me. MindLyfe is a therapy organization which is pioneering innovative mental health landscape in the country by using technology on your phone or your PC. You can access a mental health professional from wherever you are. Like what Mr. Patrick shared. A day back, 2 days back, a gentleman called me. I hear so many voices. I don't want to lose my work, but I want to continue working, but this thing is affecting me. It's a disease that is called schizophrenia. whereby you hear voices in your head. So for him, he last took his medication 22, and he was looking like, I don't go to America, but how do I get my help? How do I get services to get him? So this is a background of what I do with so many great souls who are willing to change the lives of other people, Africans, like the best career counselor in the country, East Africa actually. I'm happy that you're here, Mr. Nsubuga. So much of work. Even if you just take his name, Nsubuga, you see all the papers and the work he has done. He's just returned to the country, but wonderful for something. I did argue on this. But the reason we're here is because, like yesterday, I was in Sadapa. 56 boys got sick and are fighting how do I stop using drugs. The problem is so huge the more you go into these communities. Now, like you, the educators, the teachers, you are guardians, like Mr. Patrick. The parents will drop the students home at school, go back, they come back home all the time. The time they have with their children is very limited, more limited than they think. We have a club at our school. Woman Jack to school, and the moment she enters the gate, she shuts off anything that is to do with home. Why? The father wants to kill the mother, they're not relating, the father beats them up. I'm sharing this because these girls have grown for a year now, since our last year. Like, they know I share the stories so that we can change lives. These are some of the loyal girls we have in the club who are at some point will be in front of me sharing these stories here. We're still working on how to get the bills again. But it's so huge, like you get to wonder how best do we know. So this is what we're looking at. How do we work with the schools to change lives, to help these young girls, these young boys when they're at school, start to make things get better, awareness, sensitization. But that doesn't remove the fact, like we're all human beings, each one of us gets ill. Like last year you saw the 14 million Ugandans are mentally ill. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are mentally ill. That is 1 million before. It's a statistics. You can't afford 10 million cases. Within that population of 10 million, the country is like 14 million of us are mentally ill. But this is the statistics, and that's not sure every one of us can suffer from this thing. We just have different zones whereby someone is okay but not okay, someone is mild, and some people are critical. This is the society not needs to be. Like another example, she's right now, she's not staying at the Kampala home because she's healing. The father accepted he's helping her out, but this is the girl who got depressed and started cutting herself. She came to me, I'm cutting my thighs, now I'm starting to use, I started with the razor blade, now I'm using nails when I'm school, campuses. So these are real things that happen. So right now this holiday, the father understood her the job. He told her, you can't just shut this off. Because the problem was made with the father, she shared the bill, now the father is actually home. So now she's taking another home whereby she's distracted from all these distresses. So these things, how do you get to know someone is suffering from this? A student who comes in at school in your class, very smart, very happy, how do you get to realize that this girl, this problem is suffering from this thing? This is what the next session we have having prepared in school. I'm not exposed to that level, the science bit of it. This is why he's here, and there are Dr. Person coming in later on. What do you do when you identify someone, a girl, a boy in your class, how suffering? So basically that's about me. I need you to feel so free, ask, don't hesitate, and get yourself in, because we want to give our best here so that we know we can actually build it from that next time. We cannot do anything else. Right? Yeah. I talked so much, but good to have you. I'm happy to be with you all day. Mr. Nsubuga. Okay,
Thank you very much, Douglas, for the passion, and thank you, Asifiwe, for giving us the opportunity to be sharing what we know with you, and of course not only what we know, but also we are going to quite a lot learn from you. I'm making sure that it's not a monologue where I'm the only one going to be speaking, but it is all of us speaking, because actually I have more experience than I have. Because on a daily you interface with these youngsters, and you have more experiences to share in this session than probably I have. And we're going to have a more interactive session. Much as I prepared the slide, which will be for you, but much of what we're going to be sharing is going to be out of what you experience on a regular basis. But as we say, you can't help someone when you also need to help yourself. I need to give you a background of myself a little bit. I started working with Bible Society of Uganda. There was an HIV/AIDS project some time back. And then when I left Bible Society of Uganda, I got a job in Straight Talk. Any of you came to know about Straight Talk? As the head of the counseling services in Straight Talk. That is quite some years back. And after Straight Talk, I got quite a lot of experiences which I will be sharing with you. And that's when I moved to School of Public Health, and then I am now the Director of Counseling Services at Makerere University. But that's not the most important thing, and I have been also President, Uganda Counseling Association for 2 terms between 2010 and 2014. I was quite a young president those days, you know. They used to call me the boy president, but I was the president anyway. And it was quite exciting. And I also got to know and pick a lot of experience. Feel good. Yeah, let you feel. If you have any pain, please touch somewhere where you find the pain, or try to strike. I mean, get well. In every sense of the word. No whatever, you know. Make sure that you have no issues. At least when it comes to the bodily part of us. Yeah. So I think we're all set to go. How I wish I was not having this microphone and I was speaking. Can I try it? Yes. Okay. I hope it will be. If you don't hear me, then let me know. Are you able to hear me well?
Yeah.
So everyone can hear me well. Okay. So, not to say that I will not use it. When I feel like my energy levels are going down, I'll try to pick it. But if you don't hear me for any reason, please let me use it again. Yeah? You know very well that we have been nourished spiritually this morning. All of us are spiritual beings. Everywhere you go, people are praying and asking God, come down, do everything. We pray, we sing, we praise, we do everything. We fast. That is a good practice, because we are taking care of our spiritual aspect. Actually, I like what WHO has done. We've been adding the spiritual part as part of the health. In definition of health now has spiritual. It used not to be there in the past. So spiritual health is also very what? Important. Very important. And physical health is very important. How many of us have brushed our teeth this morning? Are there people who didn't brush their teeth? How many of us slept last night? It's part of taking care of our physical what? Well-being. Many of us try to make sure that we eat well, we do everything well, such that we take care of the physical what? Well-being. But one of the things that we really miss out quite a lot, and I like where he started from, where he was giving us the experiences that he has gathered in schools. And thank you very much for being passionate. You know, he came to my office. Sometimes we, the professionals, are not very good when it comes to reaching out. We know, but we stay in our offices.
which is very unfortunate, and thank you very much for not only feeling that you needed to help, but you went out and said, no, we need to push this out. So one of the pieces that is so much malnourished is the psychological well-being or the mental health. Unfortunately, it is so much left out, malnourished. We nourish every other aspect. We find a very spiritual person, but somehow they also need to work on something. God has given us all this for our good. Actually, when you are mentally healthy, you are going to be very spiritually healthy. Actually, extremely spiritually healthy. And you are going to be extremely physically healthy. Because all of these need to be nourished very well. Unfortunately, especially as parents, and some of you here are parents, I've seen you have rings, and even if you don't have it, like I don't have it, but I'm a married man, the thing is, I just didn't put it on. The thing is, we as human beings and our children, we try to buy them food. Actually, we are very good, especially us, the urbanites. Make sure that you take them to all the good places. When you have some money, you take them, buy them a BCD to nourish their physical, whatever. My daughter was calling me who came back for holiday. Now what do you have? When I was sitting here just. So because also it's about what? Much of it is about eating. She probably wouldn't easily call me if she has a psychological problem, which she should do.
Yeah.
So that tells you that it is a wake-up call, and especially for you teachers, for us teachers. As I told you, we are in trouble, especially even the turbulences. Every one of you knows, as I woke up this morning, I saw the fuel price increased by 300 shillings from last night when I was going back home. It already upsets you. It's an economic challenge, it's a socio-economic challenge, and it can cause you other problems. So that's why I'm saying let's start with ourselves. How do we deal with ourselves? Because actually, the mental state of us parents is going to be also a determinant for the mental health of the mental health of the teacher. In this case, it's going to be a big determinant to the mental health of these young people. When your face is like, you come, for some reason, sometimes even you don't get to know that actually your face is, you're worked up. Yeah? You don't get to know that you're worked up until somebody says, hey, you're not smiling. You're not smiling. What's wrong? What's wrong? For the whole day you haven't said a word. And that's when you get to know. It's very important that just like we take care of these teeth, we really need to take care of this psychological health. Every day as you wake up, check how am I feeling. And before I get to the presentation, I want to start with us. I'm saying, for me, I put it under A, B, C, D, E. And I'm going to first start by that. A is affection. How are you feeling? If I were to ask you, how are you feeling right now? Many times I feel bad, good. I'm not talking about that. How are you feeling right now? If I were to ask, how are you feeling? You could be, I feel worried and worried. Is there anybody who is worried here today? I feel anxious. You might be here, but actually your heart is pounding fast, and you can tell from the way your heart is, it's almost moving up. You're anxious. Something is making you anxious. Somebody has just called you this morning, and you have a debt to pay. You're worried about something. I don't know. I always like I put it in my office that gentleman knows it is Mark chapter 5, verse 36. Do not be afraid, just have faith. But sometimes it's easier to say than done in practice. But I'm trying to think many times so that it becomes part of me that even when I'm so much stretched, I feel like, do not be afraid, just have faith. I put it in my, even at home, I put that in. Do not be afraid, just have faith. Do not be afraid, just what? So for now, for today, do not be afraid for whatever has happened this morning. Just have what? Faith. Something is going to work out. what I want to change. And he's taking care of what I want to change. It's the one who will change. Sometimes you will worry so much and you will change nothing. So what most times you change nothing, that's the many times you worry about things you have no control. You don't have control sometimes of your husband. You can say, "You man, what is wrong? You woman, everything." You can have some bit of influence, but you don't have control, my friend. And many times my clients, when they come, I tell them, you know what? Better if you change, don't think about him changing. Change the way you think about this man. Change your reaction. Otherwise, you can die. You'll die before your death date is arrive. So it's due. So what I'm saying is,
When you're dead, you die again.
affection starts with A. Affect. Affect means feeling. The same as being, but I wanted to make it easy for us. A, B, C, D, E. So how am I feeling right now? How are you feeling? Every other day, how am I feeling? Even when you go to present, even when you go to people, how am I feeling? If I feel alone, like I'm going to talk to this child, and I feel angry, or I'm going back home and I feel even my mind, I feel some bit of tension in my muscles. I feel like I want to kill somebody. So how are you feeling? It's very important. Even before you talk to somebody, you're driving a car, and somebody makes you another, and you feel something, you're like, check always what you're feeling. It's going to be the determinant of what is going to happen. It's a very important thing that we need to do. Every other day we need, like we take care of ourselves. When we feel like you are dehydrated, you're quickly going to pick a glass of water and take. So just like we do it, always also let jealous. You know, even jealous, Jesus even knew that you could be jealous. I'm feeling jealous. And because I'm feeling jealous, I'm likely to do something. So that is very important also to check. I'm feeling jealous. Oh my God, this girl has this so and so and so. Have you ever been at a wedding and you feel like jealous? Somebody's getting married and you feel jealous? By the way, when you feel it, say it's normal to feel jealous. It is extremely normal. And if you're the one who is whatever, don't say, those people are bad, they're jealous. That's what God, all these emotions, let's not trivialize them and not let us not say they are bad. Whatever emotion is, it is communicating something that is going on inside. We are not saying it, this is a bad emotion, this is a good emotion. When you are happy, you are happy. When you are anxious, it's also an emotion. When you are depressed, it's an emotion. When you are confused, it's an emotion. I'm confused, I don't know what to do. When you are sad, when you are lonely, when you are whatever, both positive and emotional, whatever, but they are communicating something. And it is always good to check how am I feeling? I'm going back home, my kid has really made me annoyed, or I'm so angry because of other reasons, or I'm so worried because of whatever. It's likely to affect every other person. Emotions, by the way, are contagious. What you see me wearing, since I'm in front of you now, I'm likely to transmit it to you. If I'm a very angry person, I'm going to put. Do you remember when President Museveni used to be during COVID-19? Our emotions were based on his emotion. Sometimes it was wise, he would sometimes start by conversation, if it's so you keep us, whatever. So when it would become tough, everyone would go to bed very Everyone would go back to bed, what? That is how serious emotions can be.
Now.
So let us not underrate them. They are very, very important. When Jesus showed some emotion somewhere, everyone was in disarray, they started beating people who were in whatever. So you just imagine what could have happened in that kind of state. Most likely people also got another kind of feeling. When he was happy, they were happy. You know? Number 2 is the behavior. We need to check our behavior. How is our behavior? Sometimes we could be finding ourselves Every other time, we are failing to sleep. We are failing to, we are getting, behavior is what we do. You are overly getting compulsive. You are not the one who used to buy everything, but this time you have this whatever. Is it because you are buying because you are excited, or you are buying so many things because you are stressed? By the way, we could buy things also because we are under some stress. Many people buy things when they are stressed. They go, actually, poor mental health is also a cause for actually extravagance and other things. Many people, when they are stressed, they spend more, they do whatever, all that could be a behavior that we need to look out for. Am I becoming very, I don't behave as a person who used to be smart? I'm no longer interested in clothes, putting on whatever. It could be some, all these are behaviors that could be happening to us. You know, we need to check, how is my behavior? I used to be this, but now I'm behaving in this particular way. I used to want to work out, I'm no longer interested. I used to want to be in such places. So all that could be a manifestation of something going on inside us. The third aspect is the C. The C is the cognitive. Cognitive means the thinking. Cognitive, as you hear the word, it means the thinking. So what are you thinking about? Do you know, I think even Jesus many times was more looking at these people wherever they would see him, whatever they were thinking. This part of the brain, this part of our body, the thinking part, many times our thoughts can be the source of pain, but also they can be the source of happiness. But many times, do you know that 95% we are thinking negative? We are thinking of the worst things happening to us. Even when you have a good project you have in mind, quickly you say, but this one is going to come out very wrong. So we are always negative, but it's for our own good. Do you know that? We are thinking negative because we are inheriting, some of you are primary teachers, that brain of the Stone Age. You saw those pictures when these men were there, and they would have spears. So we have carried that animal kind of brain to this day and age. So what happens? Yes, they were always thinking danger was going to come. And they were always, because hyenas were coming to eat them, it was a bush. So every other time we are thinking trouble is going to come to us. And so the thinking is always bad, even when there is nothing bad coming. But when you see somebody, but I think that person doesn't like me very much. When whatever, there's something. The negativity, our mind is having what we call the negativity bias. Many times we're thinking what? Negative. Not because we want it, but, and that's why quickly we should ask, when you hear your mind telling you negative things, tell yourself, but is this real? Is this going to happen? I'm thinking this, whatever is going to happen to me, but is this that is going to happen? It's not going to happen. Yeah? Why don't we, many people, even when people are pregnant, many people think, Ulika. You know, it's like, every other thing we are thinking, the bad thing is going to happen. When I'm pregnant, you could ABC, you know, what they call it, you know, bad things are going to happen. Who tells you that somebody is... I know it's tough. I have always been to these wards. It's a tough thing to give birth. It's difficult. But I'm saying, what about if you put on another mindset and say it's a beautiful journey? I'm going to walk. You know, you have a positive whatever. God loves me. He wants me to have this baby. He's the one who allowed this conception. ABCD. So you give it because there is no one who comes to the world, even a street girl, to become pregnant. It's God who allows beings we don't create. Actually, Genesis verse 1. The word, the Hebrew word is bara Elohim, meaning bara in Greek it means create, and God, that word is only used when it's only God who is creating. So meaning, in the beginning, So no one can create a human being, even if you would have wanted to become pregnant. But God doesn't want it. It can't happen. And that's why we don't want to abort. So that's the reason. So the thing is, God has given you this pregnancy. Why not embrace it, enjoy it, even with pain? This kid is stubborn, is knocking me, but it's going to be all right. That's the mind now, the cognitive ability.
I have no way but to get this mind. So the thing is, that's sin. So we need to check, what am I thinking? Am I thinking right? If I'm thinking of failure, if I'm thinking of things not working out for me, what about if I think differently? Number 4 is the D. The D is the development. Development, what do we mean by development? Development could be because of the power you have as a teacher. It could be out of influence, but it could also be because of age. So many times when you as leaders, teachers, whoever you are, as family members, mothers and fathers, what happens to us is we are the ones who influence the power of the messages. Children know that we are here based on us. And people, especially when we are not doing right, when things are not going right for us on our side, they will be sensitive. You know that. That children get realize that their parents are not having money and they are struggling. You know that they are stressed more than they were stressed. Did you know that? Now I'm telling you. And that's why in the past our fathers used to be so that they were poor. These days we go telling them, I don't have the money. Those guys will say, things will be okay. You know, they will feel it, because when people get to know that you are actually going to that, things are not going well and they are not going to manage almost the environment. The environment can be toxic, but it could also be resourceful. The environment can be toxic or what? Or resourceful. Have you been around people or on a WhatsApp group and every time you go there you come out very stressed? Has it happened to you?
Yes.
You have a WhatsApp group and people are sending what? People are sending what? Every time you're like, it could be a class, your class in secondary school. And every other time they are posting. By the time they are posting good things, but probably it's causing you more jealous. It's causing you more trouble. Oh, see our house. See our what? See our what? We moved down. We have been in Dubai. And you are like, oh my God. The environment can be toxic. And people are just full of whatever. I'm not saying don't leave the groups, but sometimes it's better to leave the group.
Yes.
If it's a toxic group, if it's making it difficult for you. Sometimes actually there are comparisons, people are putting others down, there is ABCD, such stuff. So leave those environments. But go more probably for the resourceful environments. If there is a resourceful environment, it could be a church. But also that's why I want to ask people in church. Sometimes the church could be the toxic one. The church could be a toxic one. I'm sorry to say this, but it could be.
Yeah.
That when you go there, you feel like you're nobody. Like people are comparing you. Like people are putting you down. Like whatever. And you're like, you are feeling judged. That kind of stuff. So, those things, at least for us, as we are going to talk about these children, let's start with us. Are we feeling right? Are we feeling safe? Whatever the feeling is, negative and positive, Don't judge yourself that why am I feeling jealous? Why am I feeling annoyed? Just take a moment. I'm feeling annoyed now. I think it's because when you feel annoyed, it's going to help you to get deeper into the next course of action. But when you don't know even what feeling you have, it's likely that you're going to keep somewhere in confusion. But when you know, I feel this, probably you can even tell the people around you. Just like you tell people, I feel some headache. So can you tell people I'm annoyed? I am what?
Annoyed.
It's part of your mental health. I am annoyed.
Stay far away from me.
Why is it Fundeko? Yeah, you say yes. Why is it Fundeko? It's okay. But many times we feel shy about it because we fear to express what is whatever. But yet that is actually going to cause us both physical health challenges, but also spiritual challenges. You come to church, but the brothers and sisters, you don't feel like you want to communicate, you want to fellowship with them because of what is going on inside you. And yet if you dealt with it, you will be a better church person. You will be a better teacher. You will be a better parent. You will be, first of all, a better person to yourself even before you think about the other people. A better person to yourself. Because we always, as I said, emotions are contagious. Whatever you have is what you give out. If you don't have it, unlikely that you're going to give out. And people know that, okay, our teacher can also be annoying. And you can express that to us that she's annoyed. Without even beating us, but she tells me, I'm annoyed with you. You're telling the kid. And you're also letting them know, making it easy for them to let you know that they will be annoyed with you. And then you talk about it. You're also noticing that ABCDE we are talking about is something also that we are going to check out when we go to talk to these our children. How often as parents we go and talk to our children and let ourselves be interested in how they are feeling. Probably we rarely do it. As if they are feelingless. All of us have emotions, we feel. But our languages have been so much incapacitated to tell us how we feel. And that's why we need to reunite that. Whichever language you are ready for break time before we get started. Anyway, break time.
Let's give it to Nsubuga. Thank you so much. Actually, to supplement what you said about the development, yesterday a boy stood up and shared the story that there is a girl who didn't go to campus. She had planned to go to campus, but the parents told her there's no money. So that means I'm not going to move, trying not to move. The girl started going to her bedroom and crying every other day. They took her to hospitals to check. She got paralyzed, and today right now, she can't walk, she can't move. Oh, the question was, can stress cause paralysis? So what you've shared about the movement, I'm not very clear. Thank you everyone. Let's go for a break and see you then. So far, is everything good? Yeah, like Mr. Patrick shared, the 3 F's you learned: faith, finishing. I wasn't telling something, but at least I already noted that. So we need to finish this and need to be fruitful. We need to believe in what we are getting today. Alright? Alright, let's go. Chapati. Posso. One, two, three, let's go. Push. 5, 5, 5. we're handling some technical issues, but yeah, we're going to participate in the next one. So, Mr. Patrick was sharing with me, like, to share my story about me and the hair. But I'm going to be sharing that. We're going to have that session where we're going to have the interactive video. Like I shared earlier, the 3X, now in the context of what you're learning today, believe in what you're listening and what you're getting from this training. You have to be fruitful because you have to put it into action. And most importantly, we have to finish it. I had a quarrel sometime with my sister about, like, one was the issue of toxicity, what you call religious toxicity, what the pastor talking about. And we could handle that. But now I'm actually telling her to be able to finish as a Christian because she's one of the who actually prays for me so much. And if I call Mr. Nsubuga back, I like to share. I was calling Ivan. I used to worship with Ivan a year ago in Makere. That's why I
say this first it is what they call bad hour. You know what that bad hour means as teachers? Yeah. What? Everyone is complaining? Yeah, bad hour normally comes around lunchtime. When you are from midday onwards, we get into what we call bad hour. So for the next 1 hour, we want to use it to the maximum, so that as we get to the bad hour, we have more of the activity and stuff. Is that okay? Yeah. And just because we have only 1 day and half a day actually to talk about all the things I thought we need to talk about, we are dealing with a very sensitive group of young people, and that means that in order to nurture them well, you actually need to do a lot of to know them much. And I want to compress everything in at least this slide actually. When you get to where you are, if you look back, what has kept you, what has pushed you to be where you are? Because we are nurturing these young people to get to succeed in life, to transform the world. Actually, they must first succeed by themselves and then they are going to transform the world. But what has kept you, what has made you get to where you are? I imagine when you look back, you look at some other girls and boys who probably have lost it. And some of them probably were very bright. They are coming from good families, ABCD, but things haven't worked out. What I mean by good, the rich families as we used to call them. But here you are, you have succeeded, you are here. You're a teacher, you are an administrator, you are whatever you are doing. So what has pushed you to be where you are? And somebody just be inspired and share with us the experience. What do you think has enabled you to get to where you are? If you don't mind. What has made you succeed? Get to this spot where you are now. What do you think? I don't want that to share now. But at least anyone of you now just run on this aside. But just put your arm. What has made you get to where? What has made you succeed? At least up to where you are right now. Oh, so a succeed. Okay, somebody is putting up there. Yes, share with us.
One of the things that have contributed to my success is a supportive system. Family, relationships, friends.
Thank you very much. And that's very beautiful. You want also to say something. What has made you get to where?
Something you are confident, you have all the guts to push out, And I mean, you get out of you, whatever, and then you go and go for it. Yes, somebody is giving us, sharing with us.
For me, it was when God gave me the chance to discover my purpose in life. Because I discovered my purpose, I knew that there were certain things I was meant to accomplish in life. So I positioned myself based on my purpose to make sure I achieve those things. So the little things I would do would actually open other doors for me. For example, I don't want to share this testimony. My coming to Asifiwe, I didn't come with a CV. It's only because Principal David saw me as an art teacher in another school who has the excuse, who looks for an excuse to preach the word of God to his children. Principal David asks, why don't you come and see things in my church? But why the principal said, my school's well. But Principal David also phoned me here in the children's church at Atoto. So from there is where I all began. And all that came from a purpose. I knew that my purpose was in the life of growing children, doing what God said to me.
Thank you very much. Any other person wants to share with us? And then,
for me, I think what has made me who I am today is passion. I am really a person who goes after the things that I'm passionate about, and when I'm passionate about something, I am in it.
thank you very much.
Me, I think I am where I am because of prayer. Prayer, yes, sometimes I think I'm not going to reach where I'm going, but when I pray, I see myself moving. Another thing is the haters. So I just want to put them wrong. When I see them, I just say, they say they can't do this, I am going to do it. Yes. And then family also, they just say you can do this, and I also want to prove them that yes, I can do that.
Wow, the parents.
That is so beautiful. Any other person? Yes. And finally, we shall go to the principal. Thank you very much.
Mine is trusting in God and not giving up at all costs.
Okay. Beautiful. She trusts in God and she doesn't give up. Yes.
I think there are a number of things, but most important, I think it's patience.
Patience. Something you are confident, you have all the guts to push out, and I mean, you get out of you, whatever, and then you go and go for it. Yes, somebody is giving us, sharing with us.
For me, it was when God gave me the chance to discover my purpose in life. Because I discovered my purpose, I knew that there were certain things I was meant to accomplish in life. So I positioned myself based on my purpose to make sure I achieve those things. So the little things I would do would actually open other doors for me. For example, I don't want to share this testimony. My coming to Asifiwe, I didn't come with a CV. It's only because Principal David saw me as an art teacher in another school who has the excuse, who looks for an excuse to preach the word of God to his children. Principal David asks, why don't you come and see things in my church? But why the principal said, my school's well. But Principal David also phoned me here in the children's church at Atoto. So from there is where I all began. And all that came from a purpose. I knew that my purpose was in the life of growing children, doing what God said to me.
Thank you very much. Any other person wants to share with us? And then,
For me, I think what has made me who I am today is passion. I am really a person who goes after the things that I'm passionate about, and when I'm passionate about something, I am in it.
Thank you very much.
Me, I think I am where I am because of prayer. Prayer, yes, sometimes I think I'm not going to reach where I'm going, but when I pray, I see myself moving. Another thing is the haters. So I just want to prove them wrong. When I see them, I just say, they say I can't do this. I am going to be. Yes. And then family also, they just say you can do this, and I also want to prove them that yes, I can do that.
Wow, the haters.
That is so beautiful. Any other person? Yes. And finally, we shall go to the principal. Thank you very much.
Mine is trusting in God and not giving up.
Okay. Beautiful. She trusts in God and she doesn't give up. Yes.
I think there are a number of things, but most important, I think it's patience.
Patience.
A prayer. I think all those things are very important. In someone, it's very important to identify what works for you. And one time I was in Israel. Specifically, I was in the city of Jerusalem. And I asked their chief scientist a question. Because we were discussing drug and substance abuse. And I'd spent 2 months in that city. And we were studying the Israeli model of supporting those struggling with substance abuse, drugs, and everything. And then we discussed. We were a number of us, some from Africa, some other colleagues from Africa, from Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya, and then some other people from Asia and Latin America. And then they gave us an assignment, but he of course knew the answer. And we're like, what is really stopping young people from achieving their dreams? Every one of us is born with a lot of potential. Some do achieve, some don't. So what determines our success? Like we said, every one of us come from some village, from some place, even among your siblings. Some of you might see the basics and them going down, others are going high. So what is the determining factor? Is it luck? Is it prayer? Of course, the scientists didn't put in prayer and God. But as we shall be talking about these 4 things, you realize God actually is embedded in all those 4.
Yeah.
So for the past 40 years, they have discovered that these 4 are the things that make young people, children and adolescents, achieve their potential. And number 1 is the significant adult.
Sure.
Every one of us, when you remember back, it may not be your father and mother, probably you grew up with your grandmother. But you had somebody we are looking up to and you said, how will she hear this? I want to achieve this success because of my grandmother, because of my dad, because of my everything. So our children, those children you are having, and after one of the reasons they are messing up now is because many children now get messed up. However much money they might have, they might miss out any significant person adult in their life. So the children you are training, for some reason, could be missing out a significant adult in their life. And it's a very common thing. Everyone is on the run. We have a meeting, we have this group, we have this group. Everyone is on the run. So you're teaching children who are almost not having anybody giving them enough time. No one is, yes, they could be having all the food, but they don't have that somebody they call, they always go to that, and it's missing, and it's very important actually to have a father in their life. Other studies have shown that if you have a father, especially who is not dominating, but a firm father, these children grow better. So children need to hear some bass in the home. Not to say that if you don't have one, probably you need to take them to the arm or somebody. It's significant. They need some man, whether it's a girl or boy, they need some man somewhere. It's very important. So significant other. Number 2 is a positive school environment. Now when we're talking about a positive school environment, we discussed, and this is what happened in one school. There was a headmistress, and the school had 800 children. And the headmistress invited parents to come to a parents' meeting. And only 3 parents turned up. And then she calls the chairman board that only 3 parents have turned up. I'm wondering what could be the problem. And then the chairman board said, you know what? Write, tell every teacher to note just one thing positive, and we write a letter to every parent and say, oh Jackie, please come on such and such a day. We are going to give a gift to Jackie for being the best cheerleader. Another one, to please come, we are giving a gift to Tom for being the best footballer. Another, so everyone, of course, they struggle to get some positives about some children. As I talked about the negative bias, sometimes we have even written off some people. Those are what? So they got trouble finding something positive about some of these children. And what happens? At least they got something positive about each kid. So what do you think happened to the parents when they invited them again? What do you think happened?
Seats were not enough.
The seats were not enough. You are very right. They had over 2,500 people turning up. They would even bring the grandfather or mother. Your granddaughter is there, whatever. Everything was working out well. And you know what? It screwed up the whole school. Every kid was walking with his head high or head high, saying, I'm recognized, I am important. They started performing well, everything got better because of that recognition. So positive school environment. And most of these kids are destroyed because of the negative school environment. Probably many of us, of our brothers and sisters whom we have left at back, have collapsed because the school didn't nurture them well, they didn't show them that you matter, that you're great. Probably some of our friends, yes, they had whatever it takes, but they didn't have a significant other in their lives. And those are the children sometimes you're dealing with. They come from home and they don't have a significant, yes, they have people back home, but they're not significant in their life. Yeah? The third aspect is sense of self-worth. Now, people have said, when I want something, I go for it. Part of it is that worth that you have. And many times it has been built by significant people. All of us, can tell you the confidence I have is not because I did psychology or because my father took me to a school or whatever, but I can tell you my father gave me the confidence I have.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in P2, at P1, I was extremely stubborn. I have never seen a stubborn kid as I was. Never. I have looked around. I was even asking myself if I ever give birth to a child who is as stubborn as I am. I don't know whether I'll manage him. My mother was a primary teacher. What she did, unfortunately, she didn't know what to do. My father hadn't studied. He was a farmer. He was a manager of a tea company. But surprisingly, he knew best how to take care of me than my mother. Probably my mother was worked up in some way. I don't know up to now. I will ask her when I meet her one of these days. But this is what she did. My mother beat me every day. Every day, without fail. Without fail, she beat me every day. Sometimes more than once a day. So, every morning I would wake up, it's getting emotional, and I would hide. I would hide in a bush. And one time, I've never felt like this. I don't know why it's coming now. But this is what happened. So as I was getting out of the school, they sent all people boys to chase me. And I had a jacket. I had put stones in that jacket. And what I did, I went out of the gate and I said, whoever comes is going to die. So I started throwing stones at them. So they all went back. I went back. I hit myself again. I didn't hit. They continued beating me up. So I didn't do well with P1. So I was just running every day. They would beat me. I was a mess in the school. I shouldn't have been here probably. So, what happens? My father was told. Then he said, I love my son. He took me to another school. He told the other head teacher and the teachers, my son is the best. He told them, he's the best in mathematics. Whatever. And I can tell you how I became the best. And from that time on, I went on very well, performing very well. So I was like, what did these people do? Because I did all horrible things, waking up, hiding myself in one bush. One time I was picked in, have you seen this, where they make this logo pool? Amato. It's like a boat, but that's why they make the logo pool. So what I did, but it had a crack somewhere. So I went in there and pushed it on the side, and then I stayed there for the entire day. No one would ever know because I couldn't push it up, push it back. So I stayed there for the whole day. But someone was like passing and said, then she saw eyes. I had big eyes. So he saw eyes, and when he saw the eyes, he said, is this a cat or something? And then they put whatever, they said, young boy, what's happening? I was hiding away from home. And from the school. Because at the school they were beating me up. At home I was being beaten. So So that's what some of these students, that was beating that time. Some of the children even you are teaching could be still abusing something. It may not be about beating, but it could be emotional abuse. It could be anything. And why I'm bringing it up is you need to know these children where they are coming from. The socio-economic aspect, the families, the parents they are staying with. All this will have an effect on their psychological well-being. I can't tell now what state, what emotions I had at the time, but I think I was in a very terrible emotional state. I was always anxious, possibly I was worried, so I went in there and pushed it on the side, and then I stayed there for the entire day. No one would ever know because I couldn't push it up, push it back, so I stayed there for the whole day. But someone was like passing and said, then she saw eyes. I had big eyes. So he saw eyes. And when he saw the eyes, he said, is this a cat or something? And then they put whatever they said, young boy, what's happening? I was hiding away from home. And from the school. Because at the school they were beating me up. At home I was being beaten. So that's what some of these students, that was beating that time. Some of the children even you are teaching could be still abusing something. It may not be about beating, but it could be emotional abuse. It could be anything. And why I'm bringing it up is you need to know these children where they are coming from. The socio-economic aspect, the families, the parents they are staying with. All this will have an effect on their psychological well-being. I can't tell now what state, what emotions I had at the time, but I think I was in a very terrible emotional state. I was always anxious, possibly as much as they are today. But for you now, you have a bigger challenge. Drugs are everywhere. You have social media. You have everything. Your children are taking care of and bombarded by so many things. Much of it, which is to be the bigger. So you have a bigger task. Society is completely charged in some way. Everyone is starting to their home and going to school and going home. So no one is going to be bothered about any other person's skill during this day. That is how we have presented. But that means we have offered extra work to raise their needs. So to go back as much as they are today, but for you now you have a bigger challenge. Drugs are everywhere. You have social media. You have everything. Your children are taking care of and bombarded by so many things. Much of it, which is to be the bigger. So you have a bigger task. Society is completely charged in some way. Everyone is starting to their home and going to school and going home. So no one is going to be bothered about any other person's skill during this day. That is how we have presented. But that means we have offered extra work to raise their needs. So to go back, that is probably going to be, they are going to run out of that, and then they are going to, because their sense of self-worth is probably sometimes low, what is likely to happen, they are going to take on drugs, they are going to do other mannerisms which are not good. Probably they are going to get into some habits which we don't accept in our country. Why? Because they are getting somebody who is loving them more than any other person has ever loved them. And they are likely to be swayed into bad habits. And the fourth one is social connectedness to the world. How many of us have taken our children to our brothers or sisters
and even they use the word singa for some reason, or auntie or something, and they feel attached to them in a significant way, or to even to their grandmothers and fathers. How many of us do it? You do it. It's a very important thing to do. You know, because when you are connected to these other people, you remember when we were in high school, as you would be leaving home, some people would give you some pocket money, even when you would not have asked for it. But if you're saying, oh, we are going back to school, they would be seeing you with your suitcase, and people would get some bit of money, 1,000 or 500, an old woman, give it to you. That gave us the connection. The connection could be a church, could be another thing. So that social connectedness to the world is very important for the well-being of these other people, because you know, you tell yourself, if I am not, how will the other people in church say, if a person who is doing the degree, but you are kind of responsible for the other people, when you don't get the degree, it's not all about your parents, it's not all about you, but it's also about a bigger body behind you. People who have seen you in church, people who have seen you in the community, your relatives, ABCD, and that will keep you going. So those I just brought them up. It's not in your mind, in your docket, but since some of you are parents and prospective parents, it's also very important to know that, you know what, even when your village looks horrible, it's a good thing
To take the children.
to interface, to have that connection to them. You see, Jesus was connected to the family. I'm not saying he was a God, but I think he was giving us an example of what we need to do. That we are not supposed to be detached from our people. Sometimes when we become very good Christians, we say, for me, I met a young man, a man, and he had a name, Ngeye clan, and he said, for me, I'm no longer from Ngeye. That Ngeye clan, it's okay to be a church person, ABCD. I mean, I don't know whether our clans are always doing the bad things, but the thing is, it's okay to be called Nsubuga, and you are a very good Christian. You're a follower of Jesus. You're born again. It's okay. But many times sometimes we don't want to go there. So I want to urge you to, as part of this, now the school environment, that's what you're going to work on. That's what probably should have emphasized. But the other bits are also very important. But you can tell the parents, actually, as you go out there, you tell them, you know what, it's very important to connect to these children. Very important, even if it's just a few minutes. They talk about Mwalimu Nyerere and they say that guy, much as he was president, busy as he was, he had to spend an hour every day with his children, and they would sit and talk. When he would get back to the State House, he would call them, okay, John, so how was the day? And they would sit. Nothing was as important for him as doing that, to make sure that that aspect of significant adults is taken care of. So I want to talk about it, even if you don't know the definition. As I said, mental health is mental health. And as I said, mental health is about listening to how you are feeling, what you are thinking, how you are, your behavior, that could already tell you what state you are in. Now, this is also not good. And we don't have a common state of mental health, that when I'm here today, tomorrow I'm happy today, even in an hour's time I'm going to be happy, even in the evening I'm not going. Is it possible?
You plan.
No. So just like we take care of that physical health and we say, oh, I feel some bit of headache, and we take whatever. Actually, mental health keeps changing, and that's why we as teachers especially, and as parents more so, we need always to be knowing that the state actually could change any time. This kid who was happy in the morning, when you see them during noon when they are not happy, realize that something could have happened. It could be a fat kid, for instance, and somebody has just made a comment a minute ago that you look like a what? A jackal, look like any animal. You look like an elephant, a big like an elephant. And the kid's emotion has changed. Just like it can change. Have you been to some place and somebody, I have a fat son, and when I go to the village, they always say, now my child becomes a tourist attraction. I'm like, oh my God. So the child has completed it, he doesn't want to go to the what? To the village because everyone is talking, but he's not just naturally fat. And he's very healthy, he's very energetic, he does everything, but for some reason, he's fat. Should we make him small? I don't know. He was born fat. And he's going to be fat.
He'd better get used to it.
That is a big challenge that some of these children, but what we are saying here is that alone can change their state every other day. And that's why the woundedness can come in sometimes. The society sometimes wounds us, either intentional or unintentional. And it's worse with the kids, because everyone talks whatever they want to talk, without minding how it's. So you are having all these children coming to you with all these kinds of states. The child is fat and she doesn't. The sense of self-worth we've been talking about is not there. The father has never addressed the challenge that when they talk about your fatness, it's not a sickness. It's okay to be fat, that's who you are. Appreciate some children are small, for you are fat. Yeah, but for some reason we wound them. So that is something we need to look at, and we need to support the mankind. As I said, it keeps pushing every other day. Sometimes you are fine, sometimes you are not fine. And just like it happened to us, you can just receive a message right now, and the message distorts you completely. Do you know that one of the things that are critical, and now this you have to tell people also, our mental health is wounded by 3 things I have noted. Number 1, because of the past. You don't have control over sometimes the past. Part of who you are now is because of what you have always been telling you. And either they have wounded you or made you feel better about yourself. My father, when he lifted me up, I got up and I was like, yes. But I can tell you, as I talk about myself, my father also wounded one of my brothers. I remember calling him Chifurugunyu. He wasn't as probably good, he didn't like him the way he liked me. Chifurugunyu. And my brother's estimate was my elder brother. For some reason, I get to realize now he didn't support him enough. And many things, he was less confident than I am. And it can actually affect the rest of the rest of your life for some reason. Because they used to call you Chifurugunyu, so even as you walk, you touch yourself like a Chifurugunyu. So that wounded past, sometimes people do it and they don't know what it has done. These children, and we need to support ourselves. For the other reason, because we as people, human beings, we are growth-oriented human beings. I liked when Deputy Principal was talking about the package you have. It's so beautiful. I think you are such a wonderful student. So that people get to develop those other skills. And I think that's what many people are missing out. And they say the mental health is built by building all those different components. The person becomes a better version of themselves. But number 3 is tragedies are likely to come. Challenges are likely to come. As I said, as we are seated here, you can get a message. Yesterday I was counseling a young girl. She She was, early morning she was very okay, but around this time she was checking statuses of some people, of the friends of her boyfriend, and when she checked the statuses, her boyfriend had just been introduced by another girl.
Real mental health issues.
My friend, the girl came at, I was left at, I worked late, I was in the office late night, it was 7 p.m. I hear somebody knocking at my door because my light was on. At the universe I was like, who is coming in? The girl was crying like crazy. Mental health had changed. So we must know that actually tragedies are likely to come to these youngsters. And we find a way of how we can quickly support them, because it's never, we can't say it's going to be the same all the time. It's going to change. And there is no health without mental health. When you don't have mental health, you are not healthy. Now, I want to quickly, they need acceptance, they need approval, they need appreciation. Those are very critical for them. They need to have those, actually just memorize them, you need to accept them. Even when they come with all sorts of manners, first of all accept them. Jesus first accepted us.
Even when
we are whatever, he accepts you the way he says, come as you are. So accept them. That's how they are going to be actually more open to you. When you accept them, they are going to tell you all the stories and the challenges they are going through. But when they realize you are going to judge them, they are going to guard against them. But they will also approve, show them they are and also appreciate them when they do well. They love it. But of course, all these things that I've already talked about them, the too busy parents, social media, but I must re-emphasize this. You know it, but I must re-emphasize it. One time I'm sorry to talk about examples because I have had them out of Uganda. I was in New York and we had a group session. It was for therapists, child and adolescent therapists. And we were seated in a round circle and they asked each one of us, one of the assignments the group therapist was giving was, tell us about what happened to you when you were an adolescent. And I can tell you people had nasty stories. Sometimes we forget that we were actual adolescents. And we did crazy things. And because we don't have time, so I just want every other time for us to go back and say, what crazy things did I not do? You probably even smoked a bit, but you dropped it. So just get to know, and when you have that at the back of your mind, you have seen that in the supporting them.
Yeah.
So it's a period, and I think it's worse it's more difficult now, because there are so many rapid changes socially, everything is changing. You're talking about TikTok, another thing comes in Instagram. We didn't have Instagram, we didn't have anything. We didn't have phones.
We didn't have likes.
Do you know, because I look at from most of you are very young, do you know that mobile phones have just come in the past 15 years? 15. So if you are 20, when you were 5, that's when they came in. But some of you might be thinking that's how it has always been. I can tell you when I was an undergraduate student, we didn't have phones. We didn't have phones. Computers were a very rare thing. And I'm talking about 20-something years. So don't count my age, but that's what I'm trying to talk about. So so many things have changed the past 20 years, yeah? So many things have changed. And so much is changing. Even they don't know how to run it. And that makes them actually environment. And of course, too much academics and marks. And people are so much, all these are making it very difficult. Children no longer have the exposure, whatever the opportunities have. And of course, it's translating into mental health challenges. But also, I've already talked about unstable homes. And of course, I've already talked about the emotional state of the parents, the adults. Do you realize that you are going, when you are driving now, you see more angry people, whatever, people are all, people seem to be, everyone is like, life is hard, everyone is in the rush. We are just, without knowing, translating that state to these young people. And actually they are more affected. Because everyone is rushing, as they say, the term ends, we are looking for money. As you see, everyone is on the rush. About telephone addiction, and we are saying we want to address this. Our children are addicted to these phones every time they are, but we're not also available. The reason why they are addicted is because they don't have any other avenue. That is what is in their palms. We didn't have it, and our parents were also available to talk to us. We are not available to talk to them, so when your kid is on the smartphone, it's a better deal. Okay, let them also occupy themselves by something. Let me also get on my computer and work on my stuff. That's how we live. And then social media spoils them. We also go our way. Actually, adults are more addicted to phones. You see couples, you go for dates, and you see couples that basically they have gone for a Friday, whatever, and a man and a woman are here. Immediately after the eating, and everyone pulls out their head. Everyone is smiling by themselves, and they're like, my God, what's happening? Is it a phone date? Is it an eating date? And after, so we have a lot of trouble. Yeah? So we have a lot of trouble, my friends. So we need to put all this in perspective as we are struggling with this. But finally, before I get to the whatever, many of our children, some of you, most of you, especially given that you're teachers, you have come across the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah. And it starts with the physiological needs. Yeah. Because we have physiological needs, do you know that many of our children have not even been able to address those as of now? Many of them don't feel secure. And why? Because of the environment we're living in. They don't feel safe at all. It's a big challenge. They don't have that moment, the basic, the bottom needs which they need. Yeah? They need the safety, the security. They don't have it. Now, this guy asked me something, told me about, mainly talk about the common whatever, and I have only 10 minutes to do everything, and they have asked me to leave. He has asked me to leave. I have talked for a lot of time. I'm joking. But this is what is happening. Before we get to talk about the mental health disorders, first of all, some of them, we take a lot of time actually, even as psychologists, to study them, and even to diagnose, and finally to treat them. A person who is having schizophrenia or psychosis, now those are mental health disorders. They are less likely to be even noticed by just mere looking at the person and say, that person is schizophrenic, if you are not in our space. But at least I want to show you that there are basic things we need to first start by looking at that will give us signs that somebody could be having a challenge of some sort. When you find children, I was very aggressive when I was young. I told you about my experience. That aggressivity, that anger, that running away absence from home. If teachers in my school knew what that meant. They would have got picked interest and said, but what is happening to this guy? Why doesn't he like school? Why is he running out of school always? Could it be that we're not providing the basic? Could it be that something is not happening right? Any kid wants to sleep longer, but for me I would wake up to hide very early in the morning, so I would not enjoy my sleep. Any kid wants to be with other kids, but for me I was going to be alone in a bush. It was abnormal behavior. So I want us to look out for some of these signs. Sometimes we need to look at changes in the mood, energy levels. If you find a kid who used to be having a lot of energy and good mood, now changing all of a sudden, it's a point of concern. It should be a point of concern. If you find a kid always sleeping now, probably they're not sleeping well at home, or they are having social media. And that is the point when you talk to the parent, that your kid is always sleeping in class. We are wondering what could be happening. Yeah? The kid is overeating or no longer eating. By the way, even mind about those small things. When you see them eating, are they eating right? Are they not eating? What could be going on? Kids quickly could tell us, just like you get to know our mothers. There is a woman I know who gets to realize when any of his kids has a problem. She just feels it. How do they call it? You just feel it in the body. She stays in Nsubuga and she would tell that her kid is going to visit her on that day. And the kid visits. Part of it is the sixth sense, but there is what that, I'm forgetting the term we use. But what I'm trying to talk about is, intuition is another one. But anyway, let's not get there. The thing is, parents, you parents, all of you, all of us, even if you're not a parent yet, we can always tell sometimes when something is not right. So God has already given us that inner wisdom to tell. So I want you to always be just present. Many times we're not present, and that's one of our challenges. We are running so fast and we're not present. And this is an experiment. When people are running so fast, they even don't mind about the small things. And this is what happened in Princeton Seminary, a Presbyterian seminary one time in the US. They had taught these seminarians, future pastors, about, that story of the Good Samaritan. So the lecturer preached whatever, and they did whatever. A Bible school, Bible class. After that, you know what happened? Just outside of the classroom. But they had an exam. So it's like going to the other place, the other side. Say the classrooms are the other side. So they said, okay, please, you're not going to have the exam here. The exam is in the other table. And then they put a lame man who is struggling with the problem, and the man was screaming. What do you think happened? They had just, what do you think happened? And
they were thinking about the exam.
What do you think happened?
Bypassed him immediately to go for the exam.
None of them looked at the man. Everyone went for the exam.
They failed the exam.
and none of them looked at this guy. Yet they were discussing with the Good Samaritan.
Fresh.
And was
fresh from the lesson.
Fresh. So what happens when we have worked up, and that's why I started with us, when we are not in check, when we are not, people, even when they have not studied the psychology, like our parents, they could easily just say, you don't look good, what could be happening? Without whatever, but it's because they were grounded. They were kind of interested in what was going on. It doesn't have, you don't have to go to school, but they were fully in touch with themselves, and also with the people around them. So what I'm asking us to do is, we need to start doing that. That we get ourselves, first of all, around ourselves, but also get interested in what's around us. When you're talking to these children, are you interested in looking at them? When they are dozing every other day, are you just saying, let them doze? For me, I'm teaching algebra, ABCD, goes you go. Or are you going to be more interested in them who participates, who does not participate? Those things you studied, I know. But what I'm saying is that presence. When they are out, do you keep your eye on them? Are you seeing what is going on in their life? Or you're so busy and you're worked up, you can't even notice some of those things. So that is the first thing actually, and it's the most important thing. We always go to people who seem to be having an ear and an eye on us. Yeah? So, that thing, of course, we're going to look at children who are being restless and on the edge. Children who are participating in risky behavior, was participating in risky behavior. People who are taking substances. People who are feeling sad, hopeless, and numb, and emotionally flat, don't know what is going on in this kid. People who are having aches, pains, and other physical symptoms without a clear cause, you need to take note of that. People who are having obsessive and compulsive thoughts and behaviors. When I talk about this is more a little bit of psychology. But people who are so much obsessed with cleanliness of some sort, or with some bit of, they're obsessed with something. They always want to, so you need to be thinking, working in a way that causes concern for others. For instance, so people who are thinking and acting in ways that are kind of affecting other people. But also, some children could be thinking about dying by killing themselves. It's a very common phenomenon. Actually, it is said that among children 10 to 19, that's where most suicides happen. So it's very important to find out, are these children in some way thinking about dying? Have they thought about it? On Wednesday last week, a girl was brought, and somebody was, when he was talking, had pricked himself, he had cut himself all here, and had attempted 4 times to die by taking extra doses of whatever. So you need to kind of get to know about all these things. There could be symptoms of suicide. Is one of the commonest among people. I'm now going to the commonest mental health challenges that young people are dealing with have. One of them is suicide. Suicide is very common. Suicidal thoughts, they think about dying. And don't condemn them when they feel like they're thinking about dying. Even when you condemn them, it doesn't help. Just be there and say, you wanted to die? Why do you want to die? No one loved me. Every other time I tell my father about ABCD, he doesn't want to talk to me. And then when but it starts with, you must merit. You must be the kind of person the person wants to open up to. You know, for you to merit that, you must be present in these people's lives. People want to have that. I'm happy to let you know that until you have that, until people feel like you are willing, it doesn't matter whether you are professional or not.
Why? Because he has been presenting on PowerPoint. It is okay. I think after realizing the team I'm working with, your teachers, I know you love PowerPoints, but I've put my PowerPoint down. Okay? I'd want us to go live, talk, and practical talk as we refer back to his PowerPoint. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you want something to write, I can always send you the notes, I can send you the slides, I can give you everything that you want. But I have 15 years of experience in working with people with mental illness, and my place that I started and where I'm still is Butabika Hospital. That's where I've been for the last 15 years up to now. A place that when we talk about Butabika, people don't, that's a village. Just like here, Kisasi. So I wish that hospital was in Kisasi, then it would sound better. But when you say Butabika, it was like, hey. Even me, when I'm talking and some from Butabika, people say, hey, is this guy having a mental problem? You understand? So it's just stigma of mental illness. And that's why when this gentleman came to me, I am a clinical psychologist with a bias. My PhD bias is in mental health and addictions, and Doctor of Philosophy in Medicine with bias in psychiatry, mental health and addictions. So that's my area of interest, and I'm a global master trainer. I was telling him, don't worry about PowerPoint presentations because I'm a global master trainer. I have trained globally, and I train addictions all over the world. I have moved to so many countries. If you move to my office, my private office, he knows. And I do a lot of global training. Even of recent, he was calling me. I'll tell him I'm away actually. I was somewhere very far, training out of the country. I'm a practitioner. I touch on people. I work with people suffering from diseases, okay? But I'm also a lecturer. I also do lecturing in one of the universities. And I do a lot of teaching and lecturing here and there. So when I'm interacting with you, I'm grateful, and you're welcome. I think you're the best team to work with, and you're the best team to interact with, to share of what is out there and what is happening, both in the field of work, in school, and in the middle there. I think when I say in the middle there, I'm talking about our children, our students we are teaching. Are we together? Because I've been just from a talk show. I'm always on Star TV every Wednesday from 8 to 9, talking about mental illnesses and other related disorders, just to make sure that the whole community and all over Uganda, people know about mental illness. Ladies and gentlemen, why? It is a neglected, it's a neglected communicable disease that even when you come to the budget in the health sector, we are only given 1%.
Wow. And yet...
It's very distressing, but I don't want to depress you from here. But on the advantage is well for counseling psychologists around and clinical psychologists, so we shall hand. So it's distressing that it is given 1% of the budget. Why? Because people don't see. People don't appreciate it, maybe. So when it comes to me about the digitalizing of mental health and talking to people through digital media, brilliant media welcome when you come to my office. Private office now, not in Butabika. I own a rehab called the Kampala Youth Recovery Foundation, and I'm also the leader for the ghetto youth for the state. You and me, and the other, and those ones who are looking at me, and I don't know. There must be something we are going through, but possibly we don't disclose. There must be something that you've gone through for the past 3 months or 3 weeks, but just because you're silent. Why? Of recent I've been putting my focus on women in mental health. Why? Because women are suffering also silently. Don't you ask me why?
Why?
Stigma related to women in addictions and mental health.
Yeah.
How together? Truth or false?
True.
Your daughter is doing drugs. Wow, your daughter a girl or what? No. How comes a daughter a girl? He's a human being. She's a human being with blood and the same brain. Like for a gentleman and a man. Are we together? So I've been putting my focus. I'm also a global master trainer in, we call it WISE, women care, clinical care for women in substance use disorder. Vulnerable. Ask me why. Why? Because when they mix up in treatment with men, they end up in more vulnerability. They have gone with the problem of mental illness, addictions, but when they reach there, they are finding another frustrated men who want to impart also their problems on them. And then they start going to relationship, which is not a better relationship. And then from there they'll go and get married. A substance disorder person with a substance disorder person. It's so hurting. It's hurting. I can't even talk any word that can mean anything to put it down here, and you appreciate it. 2, women are also vulnerable because in most cases when women, us and those students you teach start substances, they have been started by the boys. They have been introduced to by the men. Yeah. Truth or false? Whenever you find a girl in substance use, there is a root that it was a female who introduced this girl to this substance. A male, sorry. Thank you. Now you're alert, I can't say. I thought when I saw people were dozing, but literally there is a male that has introduced this lady to the substance. 3. Trauma. 3 is what?
Trauma.
Most of us, be it male or female, but mostly female, by the time they start substance use, they have undergone a certain traumatic experience, most of them, that they have not disclosed. So by using the substances, they are trying to self-medicate. Are you together? So let me drink alcohol. I'm tired of this. My mother, my uncle used me, but they can't talk out. My brother used me, but I can't bring it out. Let me just start drinking and smoking. This man raped me, but I can't talk. Women dying silently. Are we together? I went into this, there's also violence in home, but I can't talk. I'm using substances. What about general mental illness between men and women? In most cases, the reverse is a reality. That also men go through a lot of depressive episodes. But for them, they have defense mechanisms of also starting using substances and confront altogether. So they tend to reiterate. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that mental health, as we were shown on the PowerPoint, is a very big thing. Mental health is not mental illness. I'm sure you were told this, not so? You were told this in the PowerPoint presentation, not so?
Yeah.
It is through someone's poor mental health that you can get a mental illness. And what are some of these? If your mental health is poor, you're most likely going to get a mental illness. And mental illnesses are many as you were projected to, which I didn't want to repeat. What are these? 1, I see the teachers here.
Suicide.
1, suicide. 2,
depression.
3, schizophrenia. That one.
4, compulsive
OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders. 5, ADHD, attention hyperactive disorders, mostly in children. 6, psychosis is general, it can be schizophrenia, can be bipolar, can be depression. Psychosis, we go with the students.
Yeah.
I don't just want to jump to students when you are we are dying silently. But trust me, as I'm ending my talk, I'll also tip on the students and referral. I know that's why I'm here. But I'm very concerned. I don't want to jump processes. Okay? ADHD, man are jumping up, bitch, you know, TV, DJ, the visitors are here, he's jumping here, he's going. The visitors come cool as well. Have you ever gotten such children? You got them.
Names are starting to
The
come
whole
up.
environment in the home is distressed. You even get angry. What will happen? The parent will get a hit on the head. No one. But immediately after 2 minutes, back. This is ADHD. And A is for attention. D is for deficit. H for hyperactive disorder. Okay. You can write that. Hyper. And all of this is due to the chemical imbalances in the brain, which I don't want to talk a lot of here, because this is where the chemistry teachers. Yeah. Most of these are chemical imbalances in the what? The brain is still suffering because the normal function of the chemical, the neurotransmitters are not balanced in the normal. Don't put a lot of pressure. Now I'm heading to where I was called. As I look towards the end. Don't put on pressure. Appreciate by talks. Annabelle, yeah, you've been performing a little better, but I see your performance is somehow declining. But your girl who can do much better. Are there challenges that you think we can work together so that you improve? Not together. But come, lie down. Why? Now come. You've been performing well. Now you're performing poorly. I don't even want to then you kick, you lie down, fine. No, simply work with these students, work with this girl, work with this boy, and appreciate what he has now put on the table, and compare with the past, and let him know now, you know what? I think there are some challenges. We shall talk together, all right? Or don't worry, let me know out of class. Out together. Yes.
ADHD. They are students that are very stubborn, but then they tell you it is age. It is age. When you realize after that age, maybe a child was 7, by 12 years that child is very, very stable. But before the work, but can it be treated as a child? Can you take that child to a mental hospital and it's treated? And also with an adult who is always angry, always complaining, always, can it be treated?
Some students hide in the corner of spiritual union. Actually, let me give you a story. I went to Nsubuga. That was last term. We were talking to this girl. On assessing and identifying, one of the girls who was fetching any drugs for these girls was the girl that anyone couldn't expect. And she was the most disciplined girl in the whole school. Because for her, she would just pass by the scullies. For your mana wani reverend. You get it? They are used because they are banked money. So those ones you leave, actually for them they don't take. They don't take, but they are very good at much. So this one is put eyes on. They actually kind of Kumbe is already entered with the smart ones. Are we together? So how would you identify? And two, there are so many methods of even using schools and all that. Some girls are now padding. You see a girl, so the girl is in class but drunk. For you are busy, chemistry teacher, very busy teaching. And they are just looking at you, even the boy, they're just looking at you. And for you, say, this class is very attentive today. The guys are there. Being very careful. The way the world is now is everything is, by the way, they don't do things that smell. They look and sniff, and girls pad in alcohol. Drinking through the air. Yes, and she's becoming high. They soak alcohol in pads. And she's becoming high.
Physics called them osmosis.
Oh my gosh. For these boys, they have drugs that are silent. And when they are seated in class, the class is very quiet. And for you, when you are the students, and the guys are busy. You're like, wow, this class really is very nice. The guys are high. Bring a test. You've seen this? Bring a test. The scores will be too low compared to the attentiveness of the class. They will not come chewing. No. They will come with their marijuana and put on tea. Are we together? So the whole class, the boys are seated, kumbe, they have taken tea with marijuana. Even if you smell, it's no smell. Even if you do what, but the guys are there. But you'll see someone just doing funny things. And then you think they are sober. You will talk properly, the guy will answer you rudely. You think the guy is sober, the guy is high. The guy is drunk already on marijuana tea. So very important to identify these elements. Are we together? Go ahead by maybe planning to do drug screening. Because if you think you'll just smell this guy, you'll not get anything. If you think you'll just detect, you'll not get anything. They have come with the drugs in breads. They have carried substances in pads even inside. Because they know teachers don't open the pads. Teacher Jindi is checking a case yange because she knows you're not going to open the pads. That's automatic. Will you open the girls' pads? But drugs will enter. One girl was telling me that testimony a few days ago. She used to take drugs in pads for the whole term. The pads put njaga for the boys. You get it? Then seal back at the pads. So for you to see a pad, this is a pad aside. Kumbe, what is inside there? In bread inside. They put inside in the bread, put hole in the bread. They don't even want you to open the bread, so be very careful. Why don't you want me to see the bread? They open a hole in the bread and pack sticks inside there and put back at the slices.
But they think outside the box.
So for you are thinking like this, for them they are thinking like this. So let's learn how to identify these students, okay? What I was given, just tell you how to refer. But also when we see them, if we've seen some of these ones doing drugs, let's not just chase them, let's talk to them and help them. Because if we chase them, we are spreading. You've chased from which school? Asifiwe now girl to goes Viva, they also chase, goes to Kitele, they chase. So literally wherever he's going is leaving a seed. He's leaving a what? Yet you will handle this case at Asifiwe and remain at Asifiwe and educational help and possibly this calling the parents so that they can help this boy or girl. Are we together? Lastly, I will talk about, I'm sure he discussed about it briefly, is hysterical, what we call conversion disorders. You know it? Eda bajitanga hysteria. Kati now on DSM-5 it is conversion disorder. You see a girl, you've seen them? Yeah. A girl is there, but she collapses out of the blue. Hey, whoa, you see students running, no, this is a conversion, this is psychological. This is, people think it is epilepsy, most of this is psychological. Because this, it is hormonal. When someone feels bad and what happens is the hormone is turned and then what will happen, the girl will lose energy slowly and collapse. But what will happen? Some girls, if she collapses, some schools or some students, even another year will collapse. And even the other one who see this one will collapse. So the other one will also collapse. So the whole school starts collapsing. So demon is in the school. No, it's not demons. These are disorders, these are conversions, called disorders. That mostly are in girls of teens, 15, 18, 20, 16 below, and 14. So about 5 girls will collapse and say the school had demons and all that, which is not a reality. So what will happen is refer this child to the hospital or to a specialist for review and assessment, and even they may not need any single medication. It is because they fear exams. They always collapse when exams is near. They always collapse when you're scared by giving a test. They always collapse when you possibly promise to cane. Are we together? Or after caning, you can also, you know that you can cane a child and start. And then for you to disappear slowly. And then the whole school, this is literally a convulsion. Even by the way, you can just be like this and the girl starts. You know what it means to a teacher? You watch a losing. This is just convulsion, so literally handle this. This sometimes they are by the way very conscious. They are conscious, though they are not in there. You get it? It's not different from epilepsy or enzyme. Are we together? Completely different. But because and sometimes they do this either too much at school because there is distressed environment. Then if they do it a lot at home, then there is a lot at home that's not going on well. Are we together? So ask this child, is there possibly a lot is not going on well at home? Parents are hard, there is a lot of this, there is a lot of maybe violence and home and all of that. If it is a school, then look around, exams, hard work, chemistry or physics is becoming harder, and this one thought she's a scientist and things are not working out. You get it? She thought she would get in history, things are turning out, she's getting what will happen is starting convulsing most of the time. Then the child will be sent to home most of the time. You've seen this, you'll see these cases. You'll call us for help. But thank you so much. Thank you for listening. It's been good interacting with you. And I beg to stop there, and I went in a few questions, 2 or 3. So I call it a day. I'm sorry for having diverted you a lot here and there, but I just wanted to hit here, there, and here. Gets better in future. True, others get better. Okay? But chances are high that even when they get better, at a certain age, they are going to get borderline disorders. Personality, borderline personality. They can get better at around the age of 12 and they stabilize and they are very good. Then by 20, they tend again to diverse into substance use, drug use and all of that. Get it, eh? And they are liars. They are very good liars, perpetual. So they go into borderline personality disorders. They have a lot of disorders. They cut themselves. You've seen them, eh? Even sometimes you just talk a little bit and he goes and hits his head on the wall. Or possibly get laser bread and say, I'm going to kill myself. They have a lot of life-threatening events. Just know something started.
Say it's demonic.
In childhood. And for you to say it's demonic. How together? Then can it be reversed by a clinical psychologist? Needs a lot of talking at this stage, but it is more of management now. I think you know when I say management and treating completely. It's now making this child to manage how to deal with anger. Actually, such kids are always get anger. No you get it? Because they have anger outbursts. They have a lot. They get angry very easily. They get irritable most of the time. 1, 2, 3 off. So it can be managed at that stage.
Thank you, Doctor, for that. The insights. There are, okay, maybe you know a number of rehabilitation places, including Tavika. But there is a belief that when kids are taken there, okay, there are some who are mild, some who are extreme, but those who are mild, if they are taken there, at times they come out worse because they pick up more advanced habits from the core. Yeah, for example, when you talk of the remand home in Nsubuga, I don't think they separate the mild, the core, they put them together and they all come out worse.
That is very true. One is what? A rapper. That's very true. This kid, one thing I would last advise a parent is take his child to Nsubuga remand home. That's the least I would do, the parent. Because these kids there are hardcore kids from streets of Kampala. They have seen all the funny life and hard life running up and down, sleeping on the streets. Most of them. Karamoja, Busoga, Ankole, Guru. And they are good at teaching very, very good bad manners. Very good what? Bad manners. I think you get what I'm saying. Very good what? Bad manners. What do I mean? Someone went when he's mailed, trust me, you take to these remand homes and then close that child. Yeah? Will come up when you have learned a lot of things that are very, he's fearless. He can do anything. He knows life is life now. Can even, these are kids here, they have stabbed their parents. I've seen so many when I was working there. Stabbed their parents, connived and killed their parents.
Actually, my village is companies.
Yeah, companies. There are no clinical psychologists, there are no counselors in there. They are just, those boys are there, running on that village up and down. I've been there. It is open, even with human rights. The place is very open. Those boys can move in those forests with the girls. One time I was there, they told me they grow marijuana somewhere inside those small boys. They terrorize those people around there. In that, so sometimes it's more of possibly helping much by putting more measures and doing counseling and helping our children before they go to that stage. Are we together? Yeah, I think the last question, because my time is fast spent for sure.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to request Dr. Henry. We have 5 minutes, Doctor. So both of them to be here. I want to request for each those who have questions, raise your hands so that you can take them up. Then they respond at once. They can tip tape. Hey, Doctor. I want to request you. 1, 2, 3. The birthday lady. Tell me a question, Nero.
I'm about to go by the happy birthday.
The only question she had is going away.
To going away. Let me ask, how many of us are educators at the kindergarten, the section, the kindergarten, right? The foundation section. Those are the baby class. Dr. Now, through Principal David, he recommended us to go have a session with the Rotaract. I was talking to Mr. Arthur. They have a school, a kindergarten school, but this is the experience that happened. When COVID came, of course, all of us were working and there was a financial issue. There were the teachers, the head teacher in me, they took it up on Chaya, like, we are not having money, but have these people who can give us 30 million a month to give us money so that we can reinstate the school, but they need us to put what? LGBT agenda into the schools.
In Uganda?
In Uganda here.
Yes.
And part of this also needs them to bring in aspects like what Dr. has been sharing. Drugs, about this agenda of mental illnesses. He changed the administration 3 times. Now we had to go later, the same thing. Until now they closed the school. So from what you were sharing about the aspect of the teachers and the schools, these are great things that actually happen in the schools right here. I just want to share with you because you never know. Like, I'm not saying like you're part of this, but these people are using money through the teachers, the educators, and even the students. They are using all avenues. But Dr. Badam, we look at things this way, things happen in this way. Both doctors have been sharing, like, they've been very practical using examples and been laughing and understanding, but it's been very practical. But these are the things we need to do out there. Because now you are the parents, like Deputy was saying, you are the parents of the students here.
Because these children don't have time with their parents, you are the parents. Most of the time they are here. So let's start with Principal David, Dr. Henry. Please come to front. Your question, then they'll, depending on if you're sending one of them, they'll respond. 1 to 10, 2, the lady, 3. Then we actually can close.
He said we need to express our emotions as a way of, probably it helps, Wouldn't it be, okay, people think that when you talk about how you feel, you are expressing your problems so much, that it's not good. It's not good to tell everyone how you feel all the time, because people also have their own problems. Yeah, I don't know how you strike a balance between expressing your emotions to help you, but also not over-expressing your emotions to bother people.
When I was talking about the ABCDE, I talked about my D, and that's the developmental bit. And it could be about your position, but also your age. When it's parents, and you're talking about a parent, you expressing what you are going through, sometimes actually it's to the detriment, many times it's to the detriment of the children, because they feel very insecure when you're not in a good status, the father or something. But it could be with colleagues, and I think then you should discern which kind of people would be helpful, because you can't seek for help from people actually who are going to. Some people, you tell them what you're going through, and they're going to use it actually against you. That's where the emotional intelligence comes through. Scanning and finding, are these people really, will they be able to support me, or they are going actually to put me down? Because that's also a possibility. And you don't want to get into that vulnerability. So it's very important that you kind of scan, sense, and find out where is it safe to say. If it's not, you don't say it. Actually, even in the counseling session, many times when people come, it's okay to tell them. I always tell my clients, you are only free to say out what you are free to say out. If you're not free at this point to mention everything about what you're going through, it's still okay. Of course, you encourage them to say as much as they can, but sometimes you're not at a state where they are willing, they are okay to say whatever is going on in their life.
From that, because we are human beings, okay? Human beings are made in a very, very different manner. Like information, the way how information leaks is very fast. In most cases, I'm very careful when I'm sharing my information to people. Private information. Sometimes, this is now personal. My wife always asks me, but why don't you share some other information? Because even women in bed can leak other information. So at one point, you're supposed to share what you must share. Do you know that you can share with her, but what will happen? You'll tell her, please don't tell anyone.
Then you have told.
Then she will tell the other one, do you know that she told me I don't tell? The other one, most she will go and tell this one, you saw how it is moving. Now this one, you come to this one, she went with the other boy, but what he said, he told him not to let her gamba. Don't tell her that I told you. You get it? Then she's going to go this one. Do you know what happened to the other? Now she will jump all of these two. She's going to jump the what? Then you know what happened to this ruddy woman? Do you know she went through this? I'm going to. Now she's telling this one like a fresh story. Now this one said don't tell the other one. The whole room will get through that.
As teachers, we interact with so many children, and sometimes you will notice that a child actually needs extra help.
Yeah.
And the parents are in denial. So you get to a place where you know the child needs extra help, but the parent is in denial. So how then do we help this child?
The fact is, I used always to tell myself, I'll go do everything, sometimes you have a limit. You've done your best. You're going to go back and sleep well as long as you've done your best. The kid can actually get wasted after even telling the parent. Even you can be a therapist like this one. Probably he told this woman that you are giving this guy a lot of money. She could still continue giving the money. You can only do what you can do. Sometimes some people learn through hard knocks. They get into trouble and then somehow they get back online.
Be very careful, supplement, because it will distress you if you think you're not helping.
Yeah.
That's why I laughed. Yeah. Why I laughed is you have to be careful, because if you think you're going to push, it's going to distress you more. And you're going to become sick and get depressed.
What if it's affecting my entire
That's
class?
what I'm saying. It's going to affect you, but of course, entire class then that becomes administrative for sure. Because if really someone doing habits that are really destroying others, no, please, that becomes public administrative. But if it is psychological and personal, and you think you really want to help, and the parents are denying, you think you want to pull a miracle, you're going to go into a lot of trouble.
Well, I have two questions. One is epilepsy a mental health disorder? Because most of them, like when they are stressed, they get seizures, and then the next thing they are down, you know. And then the second one, I happen to know people who are into that LGTB, and one of these characteristics is that he behaves like he's mentally ill. You find him in the corner, even when we are going out, he doesn't want to talk to us, like you feel like something is wrong. So my question is, okay, like you feel like he's a very calm person, but when you go on social media, you find him partying, having fun with the fellow LGBT people, and yet with us, he really doesn't do that. So my question is, what is the best way to help him get out of it, or is the approach to mental illness the best way to help him, like acceptance, so that the more he starts chilling with us, maybe you can be like, you know what, this and this.
I'm not that gay after all.
This is a problem we are having. By the way, LGBTQ has really sunk in this society so badly than we are thinking. And some people actually believe that they are and they can't change. So, you know, in behavioral change, they talk about the 5 stages of behavior change. And you realize somebody even doesn't, even when you talk about how bad it is, even when you bring all the scripture or whatever, nothing seems to be changing this person. We can do our best. We can do our best. Like we are talking against it, left, right, and center. But sometimes you can do nothing to change people. You just let them ask God, please change this what? People. You can talk and talk, but what can you do? Sometimes you can't change them until God touches them and they change. As long as you've done your best, you can only say, but what about? I remember one time receiving a young man, and he had a lot of muscle, he was a good sportsman. I was like, what about if you tried out girls at campus here? What would happen? And then he wasn't even so much willing, but probably now he is. But I realized, and I'm going to tell this to you as now parents and more so as teachers again, I think this is not yet studied, but my analysis is that most of the people in LGBTQ are people who are coming from dysfunctional families. I get to talk to this guy, oh, my dad just gives me dumps fees somewhere, he doesn't even see me. And I get boys who can love me, and that's how I'm getting into this. So my thinking is, when you go back, you realize it's still coming from other issues, which are past. So probably when you get into other, like even that business of getting away and being alone, it's a signal of something actually, when you unfold it. Yeah, he's not comfortable with you people who are probably could tell him that get out of it, but he's comfortable to party with people who are his colleagues. So with you, you are not bad. You only workmates, but you are not
in that community.
You're not.
But the other part, what do you want me to answer? Mentor? Mentor. Okay, all right. You see, I will discuss a little bit about that briefly. You see, we are being driven by the European world, the country. I want to appreciate at one point. At one point, it's a reality. That's why sometimes I like Mzee. When he's talking, it's like, even yesterday when he was on a wedding, like these Europeans of yours. Why? They want to drive us to what they are doing. When you go back to academics, we are academians. When you go back to, we call it these disorders, mental disorders and statistical manuals we use for diagnosis, DSM-5, DSM-3 and ICD-10. This was categorized as a mental disorder. Those days, about 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Now it was cropped out as a mental disorder. It's off. Because they don't want to put it as a mental disorder. And it was cropped off the diagnosis at one point as a behavior disorder. But what I would say is true. Currently I'm working with 4 that were referred for me for this current bill that was signed from State House. 4 that came out and openly told the world we are this and this, and they identified everywhere they are doing this, and I'm working with them. It is very difficult to work with these people because they is how they appreciate the other community. You call it a community. And changing them, if you think you just tell them forcefully, it's not easy. And that's why you see what you said, if they're in class, you'll not just go, why are you working like that? At one point, of course, it is annoying to some people. But it's a matter of appreciating and helping them change if they want to change that way. Okay? Because also you made, some people look like women anyway, but when they are not LGBTQ, so we don't want you to start judging because Grace has hips. And you say, oh, that's a guy. So by the way, it is a lot, but let's also not judge. Naturally, some kids are from families that they are young, but there are these ones who have changed by taking tablets. But there are these young ones who are just like, you know them. There are boys who look like girls, but that's how they are born. So we have to be very careful when we are judging, okay? You literally have to really know, is it true that exactly this boy is having this? And then you see the behaviors, how does it relate with the fellow boys? So you're able to identify. At that stage anyway, you may not go far by starting helping if you're not found out. Otherwise you will cause a lot of conflict and commotion.
About the correlation between poverty and mental illnesses. And earlier on you had said, even if as a teacher you don't have like 5K, 10K, but how much you have, you should be happy with that, right? Because going back to what happened to me last week, with the work we are doing, someone called me, they want us to get us into the work with UN, and they were asking me for 2 million, like if we put it to database, you get the 2 million, but if we don't, we shall give it back to you. So I called one of my overseers in the work we are doing. He told me, no, you can't do that. You have to have principles. Because me, I was like excited. With the work we are looking at doing, all this work all over the country and all that, getting to work with UNCDF. So my question is, truthfully, we get financial restrictions. And there's a correlation between poverty and mental illness and stroke disorder. On one side, the students are given a lot of money that they can have time to buy drugs, right? Like yesterday, I actually shared with them about the 56 boys who are actually, they get money from their parents and they buy drugs. On the other side, like as teachers, sometimes you're hard on, but you need to be in stake and need to be happy and make sure that you'll be appreciated when you're working with the students. So, basing on that, correlation between poverty or financial constraints and mental health, how do we also get to have coping mechanisms that in the sense that, of course, dependent. Now this is Asifiwe International Academy. It will be different if we are in high school or just somewhere. But how do we now, what is your thought and your last practical remarks based on that to...
That's a tough one, a very tough one. Because, first of all, money is related to, first of all, meeting first of all, the basics at the top, at the lowest end of the hierarchy of needs. Physiological, food, accommodate, all those first things. So I think if one would actually tell, many Ugandans would be actually having psychological challenges because of just that. Because most of the people can hardly afford to meet the physical needs. They struggle to meet the what? The physical needs, for one reason or the other. But that doesn't mean, in my view, that we need to arm ourselves with. And that's why probably, one thing is to accept what he had hinted on it. Accept that this is, and teachers are better than any profession. By the way, did you know that teachers are the biggest, one of the biggest millionaires in the US and billionaires? Do you know why? But do you know why even? Because you are very organized. You've learned how to use the small bit and multiply it and work well with it. Other people, actually, teachers are better than even lawyers, much as they have studied all those things in terms of making the money. I mean, when it comes to the people who are managed in the United States. And the reason is, you can get small, but you become practical. How do I use this? This small that I have, and ABCD. And God has given us all that kind of knowledge to see how still to manage it. But of course, sometimes it's very small. And the things, now what we need, and the things that skyrocketing every other day that like I talked in the morning. But we need to let out to, first of all, tell ourselves, oh, this is, every other day, let's listen to ourselves and get back to ourselves. Let's not allow the world to be the ones to dictate how we feel and the happiness we feel. Yes, feel that you feel the disaster, the stress, the whatever, the fear, the whatever, but tell yourself, even when you don't believe it, it's going to be all right. Tell yourself it's going to be what? All right. I'm finding the term, it may not be that, but tell yourself it's going to be all right. And I'm not so much, partly because of the spiritual element, but even if it's not spiritual, tell yourself it's going to be all right. I'm not going to die. I'm going to work out something with it. Now, when you are coming from a point of view of lack of intimidation, of no lack, of no whatever, then you are going to.
Thank you so much, and thank you for listening to me. I'm not saying as you said. Thank you for listening to me as I wish to give